I cannot believe I have the opportunity to make this video, but today we're going to be touring a garden that has been my dream garden for the last 20 years. I first moved to South Central Pennsylvania in 2005, and when I moved here, I moved into a small town, and I would always take walks almost every single day. And during my walks, I would always see this beautiful home. It was a lovely stone home that always had a stunning floral display in the window, and the gardens in the front were always immaculate. I always wondered what the back garden looked like, and as I would meet people from the area over time, I would ask them, "Do you know who lives there? Has it ever been for sale? Have you seen the back garden?" I knew if the front garden looked that good, that the back garden was going to be absolutely magical. I recently learned that there's only been one owner of this property, and it was a husband and wife that built this home back in the 50s and then renovated it in the 80s. Unfortunately, the gentleman who built this house has recently passed away. His wife has entered a nursing home, so the entire house is going up for auction, the house and everything in it. I'm not including any interior footage in this video, but I will put a link to the listing if you're interested. The opening bid for this home is $500,000. It's zero point 0.4 acres. I believe it was 3 bedrooms, but let's be honest, I was really only concerned about the gardens. At that starting bid, it's really not something that my husband and I can seriously look into, but I did want to go ahead and pop over for an open house that they were having this Saturday and see this back garden that I've been dreaming of for the last 20 years. And I will tell you, from start to finish, it does not disappoint. Now, I'm sure that almost all of us are gardeners on this channel, so I'd love to know what you learned after watching this video, because I learned so much from walking through this garden, and I will share what I learned at the end of this video. But for now, let's take in the beauty of this courtyard. This is what you see upon entering their left gate. This is completely hidden from the road and from their neighbors. She's using a ton of boxwood in the landscape, and also many shrubs are being repeated over and over again. Even though it's the beginning of April, we can still see that she has a lovely rose garden right here behind this bistro set. You can just imagine how beautiful that must be when it's in full, glorious bloom. As I took time to really look around the gardens, I noticed that there was a large amount of trees everywhere you looked, and it made me curious about what the sun exposure was in this area, because down below we have a huge rose arbor. We have roses even up here in the courtyard area. So I was really curious how those roses were handling what appeared to me to be a part sun location. Let me know what you think about that and what the sun exposure would be like in this garden, judging from the amount of trees that we're seeing in this footage. Speaking of trees, the placement of trees and the placement of different evergreens just knocked my socks off. The dwarf Alberta spruces in pots, the balls of yew and the hedges of yew and boxwood everywhere you look, mixed in with a holly screen, azaleas, Pieris japonica. Everywhere you looked, there was a winter interest. I really didn't see that many perennials in the garden. I saw a tree peony along the way and some hostas pushing up, and of course we're seeing all these beautiful hellebores. But as I looked around the garden, it really seemed like it was more of a tree and shrub garden with lots of hardscaping, lots of different garden rooms. And I have to tell you, I absolutely loved that. I didn't miss the perennials at all. I didn't even miss having tons of bulbs everywhere. I just really loved how peaceful and serene this garden was. I wonder if this outbuilding was once used to house chicken based on that chicken sign above the door. Right now, it's just housing things for the auction, but wait until you see what's in that shed straight ahead. You definitely want to stay tuned for that. I was not expecting what I saw inside. But first, let's continue down this pathway. Do you guys think that there used to be a waterfall here? I'm going to assume that there was a waterfall that probably led down into a pond where there's now a bird bath. That is my guess. Now, I love this beautiful seating area where they have climbing roses all along this beautiful structure. And I love also that they have a place for their birds within this beautiful sanctuary. Once again, each side is punctuated with boxwood, beautiful evergreen interests no matter where you look in this garden. Also, isn't the stonework in this garden and on the house out of this world? Now, do you see that trellis there on the right-hand side of your screen? That was another rose, which really was confusing to me because once again, it felt like we're in a shady area down here. More roses on the left-hand side, a beautiful paper bark maple there, holly to our right, oak leaf hydrangea to our left, and it looks like some epimedium growing under that paper bark maple. So I can't wait any longer. Let me show you what is in this absolutely magical shed. I think every gardener dreams of a beautiful potting shed just like this. My wish upon entering into this potting shed is that I could have met the gardener behind this garden because I think that we would have been instant kindred spirits. She had all of these vintage pots and vintage gardening pamphlets. She had beautiful bulb catalogs bookmarked with what she was going to buy for the upcoming season. She had Martha Stewart books and just so many gardening treasures from the past. I could really feel her presence in this space. She probably spent so many wonderful moments puttering around in this potting shed and dreaming of the garden that she was creating along the way. It's an honor to step foot in a beautiful place that she created. Now let's swing around this garden shed and I'll give you a view of their neighbors, which is a protected cornfield. Isn't that absolutely stunning? I think my main takeaway from this garden is that every garden is unique, just like every gardener is unique. If I had owned this property 20 years ago, would it look like this? No, I don't think it would. It would probably be full of cut flowers. Would it be beautiful in its own way? Certainly, but we can all respect and admire the work of other gardeners by visiting their spaces. And what I'm really going to take away from this wonderful garden and gardener is her incredible repetition of plants, her fabulous use of evergreens, her consistent use of the same trees and shrubs over and over again, and just the sheer love that you can feel for gardening coming from each and every inch of this place. I want to wish you a wonderful day out there in your gardens, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.